How are you?
Appreciate that. What's up?
What's up, Taylor Lewan? How we feeling?
Man, feel like a million domestic right now. Long weekend. Was in South Bend, Indiana.
I heard.
It was fun.
Yeah, you and Vince Vaughn hanging out. I got to hear stories about this. I have to ask you about something. Okay.
Go ahead.
I can't even talk about it. It's so gross. The Houston Cougar, the O-lineman, Unij.
Yeah.
Can you please explain how and why?
I wish I literally had a reason for this. There's also another clip last year. It was like Tennessee versus Alabama. And there's a Tennessee left tackle, and he does the same thing in the huddle, throwing up, and then stares at the D lineman, kind of like shakes his head like, yeah, we're coming. I don't know. That's a big boy. It's a big right tackle. I'm assuming he's probably a little out of shape, still getting into mid-season form. Drink a little too much water on the sideline. I really don't know.
Okay, but like, have you ever? It was like a pipe burst. Like I don't understand. Is that? I thought it was a prank. I thought he had like 7 water balloons that like went off at the same time. It was so much liquid.
Okay, I don't know how you throw up, but it's a faucet for me. It gets wild when it's loud and it's aggressive when I throw up. Absolutely loud, and it is just like that.
But he just did it and kept walking. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen. There wasn't even like a lean forward, buddy. Nope.
Yeah. Nothing at the hips. She knew it was projectiling.
And you know the grossest thing is that sometimes, people, like sometimes they'll have like the kids come down on the turf or the grass and like roll around after and I'm like, there is blood, there is DNA, there is urine, there is throw up, there's all the grossest things in the world. And like some little kids like, I'm on the scoring a touchdown, like eating the turf.
God, so many fluids.
It's so
many unnecessary fluids. Yeah, but you know what, being kids, you know what it's like. See them ripping around. You got nieces, you got nephews.
I would never.
You see them in the mud.
Okay, let's talk about it. We got to talk Taylor Swift, too. Let's do it, guys.
Eleventh play of the drive. Mahomes lofting end zone. There it is. A touchdown to Kelce.
From Taylor Swift to our favorite Taylor here on Up and Adams, Pro Football left tackle, Pro Bowler, Pro Bowler for the Tennessee Titans. The mustachioed one, the half of the podcast Busting with the Boys. Taylor Lewan, how are you?
I'm outstanding, Kay. I appreciate you having me on as always, every single week. What a pleasure it is to jump on here. Before we start, I heard you have a tentative commitment next week or tomorrow, 8 p.m. Central. For a push-up Tuesday with a J Hovey 34. Is that correct?
I love that, J Hovey. What time? Oh, shoot. What time?
I think it's 8 p.m. Central. 8 p.m. Central.
8 Central, so 6. Yeah, I'll do it. It's got to be at 6. I have a 6:30 in West Hollywood. So I got to we got to do it. We got to do it. No, but I want to do it. We're doing it. We're doing it.
We're doing it.
Oh,
I can't wait. It's going to be amazing.
I'm going to embarrass myself more than that Cougar offensive lineman throwing up half his body weight. Just ridiculous.
Spewing it out. Hey, it was an embarrassing week for a lot of individuals in the NFL, too. It's one of those weeks where all the teams that should have won didn't win. My Cowboys apparently that I'm riding with this year all of a sudden.
Let's talk about it.
Just stuff happened left and right.
Where are you at with your Cowboys? Let's do a temperature check because you were all about them and then they lose Diggs and that clearly changed some things.
Yeah, it changed some stuff, but also if you look Baltimore was favored by 8.5 points and they end up losing in overtime to the Colts. Titans just didn't play well against the Browns. That should have been a much closer game than it was. Every year during the season, there's always a couple of weeks where teams just don't perform the way they should, and they end up getting upset. And that's why this is the most beautiful sport in the world. It's built to be 8-8. Everyone's built to be 500. So I'm not worried about the Cowboys. I think they're going to be all right. I think the Cardinals, Will Compton had a great take on the Cardinals because by no means are they the most talented team in all of the NFL, but they're going to be one of those teams every week. You got to kill them. They're going to be gnats. They're going to be flying around. They're going to be doing their thing. They're not just going to roll over and die. And so shout out the Cardinals for a big win there, but I don't think the Cowboys are dead by any means.
Shout out to Josh Dobbs, apparently. Unstoppable against one of the best defenses in the NFC. Got to love it. The NFL.
He's an absolute stud. There's no question about it.
Okay, let's get back to speaking of studs. And a lot of people had embarrassing weeks, and then you had the boy wonder, perfect situation that anybody could write, imagine, make into a movie, and it's this Travis Kelce thing. Okay, so we've all been tracking it. Taylor in the box with Donna Kelce, and she's dropping F-bombs in front of her. She's, saying like LFG. This looks like overtime in the Super Bowl, and it's like a beatdown of the Bears. They're up like 90-0, but they're cheering like this. They're so excited. What were you thinking when you saw this?
I thought, good for Travis. That's incredible. Like if you think about the Kelce brothers in general, not just Travis, but his brother Jason as well, the ascension that the two of them have had in the last 12 months, 14 months has been truly incredible. And then you got all the Stoolies, you got all the Swiftie fans coming out saying, oh, this is not real, because if you see Taylor Swift's dating history, she never talks about it. They're going back and forth on that, but now she's upstairs really diving into it, jumping. They're walking together. Her and Travis are walking after the game, but they're not holding hands. So now everyone's like, it's not real. It's all fake. We're just jumping in. We knew the Chiefs were going to win. We knew they were going to win big. I'm standing 10 toes down. The Bears are the worst team in the NFL at this point right now. It's tough to see. And they're going to be all right eventually, but it's bad. It's bad. So we knew that was going to happen. Then, the biggest story obviously is Taylor Swift being at a football game. How real is this? I don't know, but it's beautiful. My question is what happens after Taylor Swift leaves? Are the Chiefs dead after that? Is she going to put like some sort of voodoo hex on them?
She's
you see
a Philly
how all the
girl.
breakups.
She's a Pennsylvania girl. She's pledged allegiance to Philadelphia. So it'll be interesting. Those two teams face each other November 20th, and we'll see. Donna, obviously there's a Jason thing there, so it'll all get really interesting. But are you concerned the relationship is moving too fast?
I'm concerned that it's none of our business. That's what I'm concerned about. I feel like the whole world is like, I've never understood why people are so infatuated with people dating. And whether I know Taylor's probably the biggest star in the world. She's got to be up there.
Yeah.
And to see her with the football player and all that. And like I said, the biggest winner here is Travis Kelce. Like he's having just an off the field extravagant.
Okay,
he's
hold on a
A-list
second.
ascending.
Hold on a second. But if you have a little foresight, this could go wrong for Kelce, Like, and I love it. I'm into it. Mm-hmm. But like they break up, no matter who breaks up with who, and he's got a million haters off the jump. Like Swifties don't play, right? And like who cares about his song? She writes like they're not going to love this. And then like if he has one bad game, it'll be you're distracted. It'll be. I don't know. Like there's and that face by Kelce there. Can we see that video? Jarrett Payton, who by the way, his dad is one of the most famous football players of all time, the great Walter Payton, and he's staring at him like, no man. Like what is this face telling you about Travis Kelce?
I think that's Travis trolling, man. Travis is so damn funny. He really is, dude. He's a guy that, like, he knows the joke. He plays into it. The tight ends, you got to give a quick shout out to the tight ends and how much they've really just done. Him, Kittle, Hawkinson, all those guys, Waller, like, they all are just understanding the process of on and off the field stuff, the games, the jumping into it, the back and forth. And I love it. I think that look is a good, solid troll for Travis. Like, he probably doesn't even believe he's in this situation right now. Because if we look back to how it started, on the New Heights podcast, he's literally saying like he's trying to give her the number and it didn't work, and he got big time by Taylor Swift. Now all of a sudden, fast forward a couple months, and we're sitting here and they're walking together in a hallway.
Well, he's saying that because he knows it'll get out there and it'll be news and it'll get to her probably, and it's a very cute idea to put the number on a bracelet. I think Travis is literally like, Jarrett, be cool, man. Like, be cool. Like, don't stop videoing. And then it was so funny to see Jarrett be like, like giggling like a schoolgirl when he gets the thing. It was awesome. And I wonder, what you're saying about these Kelce brothers and their like glow up. I mean, they're tremendous players. They always have been. They're famous to us. But like, I think the Super Bowl took them to just an insane height. Like it took them. It was really winning that second Super Bowl for Travis, because then he's like, SNL, this and this, and like it's kind of like what Gronk did in a way, but even more now in like the viral social media time.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, you're right. They're reaching new heights, just like their podcast name. It truly is. Like, they're really doing it. They're really doing it in a way that, like, it's a perfect storm. They decide to do a show together, seeing the dynamic of two brothers in the NFL and, like, capitalizing on that situation. Then they both have storybook seasons. They go to see each other in the Super Bowl, and we're literally being referred to as the Kelce Bowl. Imagine being such a big deal that the Super Bowl is being downplayed and it's being renamed the Kelce Bowl because of it. It really is like, it's so awesome to see. And I can't wait to see how long it lasts and all the things that come from it. But like Kelce doing, SNL, that is like by far, to me, the coolest thing ever. That's the stuff, that's that bucket list stuff that you're like, man, they're really just out here doing it. So I love it. I'm happy for them. And I can't wait to see the continued success.
It's amazing. Now let's talk a little football here. Last night there was the Steelers-Raiders game. Weird decision, controversial. Josh McDaniels says, we're going to kick a field goal. We're down 8 with 2 minutes and 25 to go in the game. Would you have liked to seen him, go for it there?
Reminds us of a game, too. I believe it was the Packers a few years ago that they were getting on LaFleur about a similar situation. I'm sure there's statistics and logic, especially the guy like, was it McDaniels or something? Mm-hmm. Like a guy like McDaniels who is going to sit there and he's going to understand statistically, if you get the 3 now, you go for it later. Who knows how the defense is going to do in the 4-minute type stuff? It could have gone either way. I think, would you like to see the 7? Yeah, but what if they go for it and they don't get it? Now we're sitting here saying, hey, man, they should have just took 3 and they should have just, hopefully their defense stood up and then, all that. So it's always a game of, they coulda, shoulda, woulda. But in type of those situations, it's just hard.
Yeah, now you were at Notre Dame, Ohio State this weekend, and what a crew you were rolling with. We got Vince Vaughn, Mark Ingram, Brady Quinn, Shane Gillis, Will Compton, of course, is there. And this was the site of another little bit of a controversy. Notre Dame had 10 players on the field at the end of the game. As a Michigan man, how painful was it to watch Ohio State win like that?
I know. And you know what, Kat? I love the fact that you're jumping into a little college football for us because we talked about it a couple weeks ago, just not a big college football gal.
It's for you.
I will say I was wearing a Notre Dame shirt. I was literally wearing what used to be a massive rival for Michigan is Notre Dame. When I was there, we played them every single year. I was wearing a Notre Dame shirt. I was about it. I can't stand the Buckeyes, and they should have lost that game. But talk about controversial calls in the first quarter. Notre Dame should have kicked 3. They ended up trying to go for it, not getting a 4th and 1. Game's completely different in that situation if it happens like that. But that's the beauty of sports. That's why we talk about it every single week. That's why I wonder, hey, these guys are just doing their best, and you never know what's actually going to happen. That's the most beautiful thing about sports. The most beautiful thing to me on that weekend, though, Vince Vaughn. Is he not the best? He's a legend. Oh, well, I met Vince Vaughn once in Cabo. And it was a unique situation. I was at a party in Cabo and he was there with a bunch of people. And I walk up, I shake his hand. I say, hey man, great to meet you. I'm a massive fan of you. And as it happens, 2 of his guys that he were with kind of put their backs to me and walked them away from me. It was a really weird situation. I was like, man, to me, it wasn't Vince big time in me. It was his boys big time in me. So I was like, hopefully someday we get some redemption. Man, I see him in the sidelines. We walk up literally for the first half of the game. We're all just hanging out, talking ball, great time. Vince is Vince. You see him in the movies. You see him, in the interviews. He is that guy. He's got the banter, the back and forth. He's rolling with it. He's having a good time. It's always smiles, big hugs, big pushes. He's living the dream. So it was that crew, the people we were with, man, it was what a weekend. I am paying for it a little bit today.
I'm sure.
hurting a little bit right now, but what a weekend. It was outstanding.
We love to hear it. So you know who else has a bit of a hangover and a headache today is Sean Payton and Vance Joseph. Let's talk about it.
I know.
Okay, so the answer can't be it's the NFL because this is not every day. This is not every day that a beatdown of this proportion goes down. 70 points, 376 passing yards, 350 rushing yards. Where do you want to start?
Dude, I want to start with the Dolphins and how good they are. Their head coach is like a young Andy Reid. He's like a little super genius, he literally rips around and he his personality is so unique. He the way they do motions and play calling, and they're always moving guys around and they look like they're having a fun time. Having a good time doing it. And they are truly dominating. If they can stay healthy, they are one of those teams where we might see them in the big game. We might literally see the Dolphins going. That's how good they are. The Broncos, they're not as bad as their record says. They played decent. They played well against the Commanders. Obviously, they had a last-second, mishap against them at the end of the game. The Raiders was a close game as well, but this game was just absolutely abysmal. Sean Payton, a lot of people come at him about all his comments and how he handled, the last coaching staff at the Broncos. It's tough. It's tough kind of right now with all the growing pains, but we all know how good of a head coach he is, and hopefully he can get them rolling. I think what a wild move it was keeping Russell Wilson in. that late in the game when it's that bad. And he's your quarterback, regardless of how well he's played in the last 2 years. He's making a whole bunch of money, and if he gets hurt, that would have been a horrible, horrible look for that franchise.
What do you do if you're Denver? How can you turn this around? A lot of people calling for Vance Joseph's job because it's a historic loss. A lot of people saying that Coach Sean Payton is overrated when you're saying we know how good of a coach he is. What do you make of that?
Yeah. He's a good coach, and it's not going to it's like he's going to become the head coach, and all of a sudden everything changes. Like there's a level of getting your culture in, getting, the mindset and what you expect on a week in and week out basis. That's the kind of stuff we're going to have to see that, and only time will tell. Now, Bronco fans, how much time they're going to give him, I don't know. Sean Payton might walk away from this being like, I enjoyed retirement. I'm out of here right after the season ends. If it keeps going this bad, I always feel weird calling for people's heads 3 weeks into the season. Yeah. Like, let's get halfway. Let's get to the halfway mark. Like, if you start firing people week 3, you're essentially saying we're quitting. Like we were throwing, it's like throwing the white towel. It's over.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
so
a 50
don't do that yet.
Is
It's bad, man. That is bad. A 50-point loss is, but it's historic. Like it was closest to the most points scored in a game ever. Yeah, it was literally history. Like, if they go and they play the Bears this weekend, correct?
They do. That's a good. Yeah, they play the Bears. That's a good thing.
2 teams that are 0-3, like. We'll see what's going to happen. I expect the Broncos to win that game.
You can't come off of a 70-point like mollywhopping and then go in and lose to the lowly Bear. You can't do it. You can't do
wild.
it. And I don't know that ownership group well enough, but I don't know how patient they are. I don't know.
Yeah. It's tough to see. I mean, let's say they lose bad again. Now here I am saying, hey, you can't fire people in 3 weeks. Maybe we're looking at something a little different, right? Because it's so crazy how it's a week-to-week basis thing. Like the NFL is the most impatient organization ever. Yeah. If you win 1 week, you're the best. If you lose the next week, you're probably the worst.
Though, Taylor.
So few games. Every game counts. And you're going to have to make a big change being 0-3 right now if they want to expect to do anything and make it to the playoffs.
Would you have been surprised if Staley loses yesterday's game? In my head, I was like, he's getting canned. Because of some of that stuff. I was really worried. I was like, if they don't win this game, this is going to be tough for him to keep that job.
I don't know.
Really?
It's so I'm just not a fan of firing people this early in the season. I think you need to give some time and let it ride, because when you start making changes up top that early, you lose the locker room. The locker room, the vets know, hey, it's over. They know that the game is not going to, they're not there to win anymore. Now is it, hey, are we fighting for draft picks? Like the whole city's turned against us. You're not going to sell tickets. People are going to pack in and say, see you next year. So I just think you never do that when you're in 3 weeks in the season.
I'm going to ask you one more before we go. I have to get your Monday night picks, though. But the Patriots, they took care of the Jets like Belichick always does. Zach Wilson, I mean, we've seen what he is. I don't know what they're going to do with that. They don't want to bring somebody else in. I don't know if they're being stubborn or what they're thinking. They're kind of going half in, half out. Like, I heard Matt Ryan and there were quarterbacks that called and were like, hey, I'm interested in the gig. And they're like not interested in bringing anybody in. But that's neither here nor there. The fans let Zach Wilson know that they were angry. And did you see this? This Jets fan loses his teeth. I haven't seen this. What is this? What happened?
No, I haven't seen this.
Ew!
That's that 5%, man. The fan bases, 5%. Like if you have massive fan bases like the Jets, like the Steelers, the Cleveland's got a great fan base, Kansas City's got a great fan base. The top 5%, the psychos, the crazy ones, the ones that are gonna, commit arson or something like that if their teams don't win. That guy's a 5%er right there.
Okay, should they? Go ahead.
I just don't know. Are quarterbacks really calling? Is Matt Ryan really calling and say, hey, I want to go play? I know I saw Tom Brady said, if the Jets call, what are they doing? He said, absolutely not.
Yeah, there was another
Zach
quarterback.
Wilson.
Somebody in my ear tell me it was definitely, I think, Matt Ryan. I'm trying to think of who else, but was it Carson Wentz that called, was interested? That they put feelers out? I don't know. Was it really Wentz? I thought it was somebody else. But I mean, should they go make? Okay, Robert Saleh is like, we're sticking with Zach Wilson. Would you really ride this out with Zach, or would you? If you're the Jets and you're a team that can compete, you're a well-rounded, well-coached team. Do you go make a move for a quarterback, Kirk Cousins potentially?
I think it kind of depends on Aaron Rodgers too, right? Because Aaron's out here kind of spouting off on McAfee show saying, hey, I might be back by mid-January, all this stuff. And it's like, Are you going to go and get a Kirk Cousins who, you got to pay a lot of money? He's going to be on a long-term contract. You get him, then Aaron Rodgers comes back, then you trade Kirk, or does Aaron gone? I think it's more than Zach Wilson right now. I think is Zach Wilson the guy that's going to lead you to the promised land? Unfortunately, buddy, no. That he hasn't shown anything to us that we're going to be like, yeah, this is the guy we ride with. But you've got a great team around him. Get him in positions where you throw shorter throws. You use the screens. You run the ball more. That type of stuff, because you can do that and kind of get away with it. Hopefully, sneak a couple wins. With the Patriots, you knew it was over. You knew it was over when Bill Belichick came up on his Wednesday press conference and said Jets week. That's like Bill Belichick talking like Conor McGregor to Nate Diaz before a fight. That's literally the biggest trash talk we've ever heard from Bill Belichick. You knew they're gonna win that game. So I don't know. I don't know what you do. It's hard to go get a quarterback, because once you go get a quarterback, it's like, well, what do you do with Aaron then?
Yeah.
And what is Aaron's plan? Well, what's he planning on doing?
I don't know. Aaron gave back that $30 million. It's sitting there. Let's. I don't know. It's a good question. I want to hear from Jets fans. But quickly before you go, just give me one-word answers. Eagles at Bucks, Bengals, Rams. Who you got? I
think I like the Rams. Okay. You know what? I like a couple upsets. I like the Rams. I like the Bucks. I think the Bucks, they're underdogs by 4.5, I think. And the Eagles are one of the best put together teams in the whole NFL. But
wow,
you see how the week's going. Bucks. So why don't Baker Mayfield and the boys who are playing out of their minds?
Let's go, Baker!
Go get it done.
Taylor Swift.
Go get it done.
Go!
Yes.
That was Taylor
Swift. I like that in the Rams. I'm not worried about the. Bengals, but I think the Rams
Stafford and Puka, move over Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. Hey, thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest Up and Adams content right on YouTube.